It's official. Manchester United have won a Premier League game, and all I can say is, after a European week as well, that's a massive positive we can take from tonight. Hannibal, very decent performance. I felt like that. I was a bit surprised when he started, but injury crisis, what can you do? What's happened to Eriksen? Is Eriksen now injured as well? I really don't know, but a very decent performance from Hannibal, playing a full 90 minutes in a Premier League game against a very decent side like Burnley. So hats off to Hannibal. Jonny Evans, sensational performance, but let's not get our hopes up here. Very decent performance, a beautiful assist to Bruno Fernandes, wonder goal, and a very decent goal as well from Jonny Evans. That was also redeemed as offside or a foul on the goalkeeper. I'm not too sure, because if you look at this picture right here against the Manchester City versus Fulham game, a similar situation happened, and kind of the same of what happened tonight, but Man City's goal stood, but Manchester United's didn't. And this is where the inconsistency of the referees in the Premier League happens once again. But Bruno Fernandes, for me, gets my man of the match. Very decent performance from Bruno. A moment of brilliance. It was a very brilliant pass by Jonny Evans, and literally Robin van Persie-esque from Bruno Fernandes, scoring that beautiful volley. James Trafford, decent upcoming goalkeeper, but no keeper is probably saving that shot. Like, Bruno Fernandes showed his class tonight, but it was a performance of average performances, you could say. No one was outstanding today, but there was a lot of decent and improved performances, we could say. But it's better from our last game against Brighton, so I take that as a win. Obviously, we lost against Bayern Munich as well. That was a bit of a completely different side, and I'm pretty not disappointed, but confused why Erik ten Hag didn't choose that same team against Bayern Munich. Maybe he's trying to reserve them players for the Carabao Cup game against Crystal Palace on Tuesday, which I am going to be at the game. So if you want to get involved with Red Devils TV, talk about before and after the game, make sure you meet me or message me in the comments, message me on Twitter, Instagram, whichever one you want to meet me on. Give me a message and we'll meet up before the game and we'll do some content together if you are interested, because we're all about getting the community together and also just building a bigger and better community with Red Devils TV. But talking about Manchester United versus Burnley, I thought that there were quite a few positives we can take from it. Obviously, we've already mentioned the individual players, but the fact is as well, Burnley have been quite underwhelming this season. A lot of people thought that the way that they play football is going to get them out of the relegation zone and they could be challenging for mid-table. But so far, they've had a pretty poor start to the season. I think adapting from Championship football to Premier League football is a massive change. And Sheffield United, they're doing things right. They like I'm trying to think of the word. They're like already allowing themselves to be relegated. But if we get a promotion, that's a successful season to them. And I think that's how every team should think when they get promoted from the Championship, that these teams have been in the Premier League longer than us. We should technically be going back down because they're used to it than us. But if we can get promoted, we can stay, I don't know, get 17th or 16th place and stay in the Premier League. That's a successful season. But it seems like Vincent Kompany is very stubborn and wants to keep playing this attractive style football. And you know what? I know at some point it will work. But as of now, they haven't had a great start to the season. Burnley, I don't think will get relegated. I think they've got a very young upcoming side. I mean, Aaron Ramsey looks very decent tonight. And Josh Brownhill, I'm a massive fan of. I spoke about him in preview, talking about he probably be one of Burnley's most dangerous players. But talking about Manchester United, on to Crystal Palace against the Carabao Cup. We've got 3 points. Manchester United actually won. I did say in my preview that it would be a very close game. I did go for a 3-1 victory. But I did also say that it would be a game of two halves. And that's exactly what it was. Burnley in the first half were a lot more relentless. And in the second half, they just struggled to create chances, to threaten Andre Onana. I thought it was a very decent performance from Manchester United tonight. So for me, I personally believe that it's a successful game from Erik ten Hag and a successful game from Manchester United. So my player ratings, this is what it will be. I'm going to give Andre Onana a 7. Gets a clean sheet. I think that's the best way to come back after the criticism he earned and got from the Bayern Munich game. And I felt like a 7 is very well deserved. Kept a clean sheet, made a few good saves, and his distribution was quite good tonight, as we expect from a player like Andre Onana. Diogo Dalot, I'm going to give a 6 to. He got a yellow card very early for a challenge he didn't need to commit, and I just felt like he got beaten a few times for pace with the Burnley winger. Lindelof, I'm going to give a 6-2 as well. I felt like Lindelof did okay, as well as Jonny Evans. I'm going to have to give a 7-2. Left back, Sergio Reguilon. Sergio Reguilon, I'm also going to give a 7-2. I feel like Sergio Reguilon was a very decent player today, and picking up that injury, hopefully it's nothing too serious, but it is a massive concern in my opinion, and that's another injury to our defence. We now have 3 players available in defence, or should I say, no, yeah, 3 players available in defence. That is absolutely shocking. Like, we've got Malacia injured. We've got Luke Shaw injured. Now Sergio Reguilon. You've got Harry Maguire, Lisandro Martinez, Aaron Wan-Bissaka. The list goes on. And for me, I think it's absolutely shocking what's going on with this current injury crisis at Manchester United. But I thought Reguilon did very well. Again, I do really like his performances. Going forward, he seems very confident and comfortable. But defensively, he does seem a bit of a liability. I have spoken to a few Spurs fans, and they have said that Sergio Reguilon defensively worries them as well when he plays for them. Midfield, Casemiro, I feel like he played well. I think this is one of the players that I mentioned when I talked about the performances haven't been the best, but it's now starting to improve. Casemiro had a very decent game today, considering the way he has been playing recently. I mean, it's still poor for the standards Casemiro has set from last season, but I think with this season, the way he's performed so far, it's been quite underwhelming from Casemiro. And I think with a performance like this, hopefully his confidence can kind of start rising. Maybe he gets more confident. Amrabat had his debut today, so hopefully we start seeing like partnership and double pivot type like partnership form with Amrabat and Casemiro. And you know what? I'm also going to say it. Hannibal Mejbri, keep him in the starting 11. I felt like that. I was speaking to my future father-in-law in this. Now, James, if you're watching, nice to see you. But I was speaking to my future father-in-law about this today, and I was speaking to him. And I turned around and said that we really miss Fred. I never thought I'd say this, and I've said this on the channel a few times. And I said that, James, you know what? I would really like to see what Hannibal Mejbri can play. I think play him in that Fred position, make him run around a lot, be that energy that we need in that midfield currently, and take the pressure off Casemiro. And that's what Hannibal did tonight, and I felt like he did it very, very well. So for me, Hannibal, I'm going to give a 7-2. I felt like he had a very good performance today against Burnley. Scott McTominay, I'm going to give a 6-2. Felt like McTominay was just McTominay. I guess it was an average performance for McTominay. I could even give him a 5, but I'm going to be generous and give him a 6. Yeah, I just didn't really notice him on the pitch, honestly. And yeah, that's just the harsh truth, you could say. Bruno Fernandes, for me, man of the match. I'm going to give him an 8. Beautiful goal. I feel like with the build-up play and his just overall work rate was very good today. A massive step up from his recent performances in the Premier League. Rashford, you see, with Rashford, it was one of them performances where he didn't do anything, but he did stuff at the same time. And he looked dangerous. He had that chance very late on in around the 80th minute where he could have scored from it, but just completely overthought it. And I think that's what Rashford's issue is at the moment. He's overthinking what he does. Like, as a professional footballer, and when we see Marcus Rashford at his best last season, you saw Rashford, he would know what he was doing before he even got into that position. So as he saw, let's say Bruno Fernandes, let's say put this into a picture. Bruno Fernandes hits the long ball to Rashford. Rashford's on the halfway line, so he can't get called offside. Beats the defender for pace, but then the defender starts slowly catching up as Rashford starts to slow down as he's facing the goal. Rashford last season would have known that he would have done maybe 2 or 3 steps over and gone left or right like that. But tonight, he did about 4 or 5, and then by the time he's made that decision, the other Burnley players are back in defence, and Rashford then loses his opportunity and loses that chance that was created. And that's what I think Rashford's issue is at the moment. I don't think he's poor in form. I don't think it's not being confident or being lazy. I honestly would say he's overthinking it. And I think that he just needs to take a step back, realise that he is still Manchester United's main guy. He's one of Erik ten Hag's favourites. And I think Rashford just needs to take a step back, relax. He's got a player like Højlund now, so he isn't reliant constantly for goals. And once he starts working on that, starts working on the partnership with Reguilon, hopefully if he isn't out for too long, then no doubt Rashford will be back scoring for us very, very soon. And I can guarantee you on that. So that's just my thoughts on Marcus Rashford. And finally, Rasmus Højlund. Now, Højlund, I am going to give a 6 to, but the chances he had, he could have scored from. And I said this in my preview, give Højlund the chances and eventually he will score. And tonight he only got, 2 or 3 chances, and one of them was a very quick cross by Diogo Dalot, and no striker would be able to get there in time, so you can kind of cross that one off the list. But there were chances for Rasmus Højlund, and I think he's just getting used to the Premier League. We expect this. We know he's not going to be scoring 40 goals for us this season like Erling Haaland did for Manchester City. We've got to take time with Rasmus Højlund. So people, be patient with Rasmus Højlund. We know he's a good player. We know he's a promising upcoming player. And I think Rasmus is going to do very, very well for us. But having a 6 isn't a bad score. It just means you could have done more. That's all it's down to. And Erik ten Hag, I'm going to give him a 7 today. I did question substitutions because Erik ten Hag normally likes to make his 60-minute substitution, as well as making around the 80th, 90th minute substitution where he brings a player late on. And he did that with Varane and Amrabat. By the way, Amrabat gets his debut for Manchester United, didn't do anything, came on, kept the clean sheet. Nothing really could do there. He was on for 10 minutes. So Amrabat, hopefully he plays against Crystal Palace in the Carabao Cup on Tuesday. But yes, 3 points for Manchester United. Manchester United have finally won a game in the Premier League. And let's hope we can now gain a run of form, gain a run and get more confidence and get back into this season and just kickstart off our season. Yes, we've arrived to the sprint late, but it's now the final 100-metre dash, and I think Manchester United can now start to catch up. But anyway, what were your thoughts on Manchester United? Who was your man of the match? I remember to subscribe to Red Devils TV for daily content. Thank you for watching.